Why are you here? Nobody invited you. You tampered with father's bed, stopped his medications, and passed sedatives off as comforters. You plan to burn the crime to ashes. I'm here to throw the truth back in your faces. I spoke sharply, leaving no room for explanation. Her smile froze, Jason's face changed. Anna wiped her eyes but could not muster a defense. The crowd began to murmur, the creak of chair back sounded like needles in the silence. Mother's fingers clutched a handkerchief, her voice trembled, then turned into pleading, Lucy, please, we did it for his good. Her words were broken, her eyes full of both shame and fear, finally becoming a supplication. I had left home 8 years earlier. That year I had just received my registered nurse license and was working in palliative care. Father's illness had already begun to show then, memory lapses, agitation. I suggested taking him to neurology for an assessment. At the dinner table Mother knocked her wine glass and said, we don't have crazy people in this family, understood? My brother laughed and smoothed things over, Lucy's just anxious, Dad's just getting a bit forgetful. I barely ate that meal. After dinner I sat with Father in the yard. He sat in that old wooden chair, turning an old fountain pen in his hand. He whispered to me, don't bother, they don't want to hear. Sometimes I really can't remember how old you are. I held back tears. He patted my hand, when you have time, help me put the deed for the grave in order. I want to lie next to Mom and Dad. That was a moment when his mind was still clear. In the years that followed Mother became more domineering. She forbade me from talking to outsiders about Father's illness on the grounds of family reputation. At a family gathering I couldn't help but mention his medication confusion and need for professional care. Mother smashed a glass on the floor and said in front of everyone, you think you're a doctor? You're just a nurse who wipes the dead. Relatives awkwardly looked away. My brother pulled me outside and ground out, are you trying to destroy this family? That night I moved out. They blocked my calls. No Christmas cards. 8 years passed without a single visit. Until that morning, when I was eating cereal in the kitchen. My phone lit up, a post from one of Father's golf friends, goodbye, old buddy. Rest in peace. The spoon fell into the bowl, milk splashed across the table. I stared at the photo for 2 full minutes, my mind blank. I called Mother, no answer. I found the funeral details online. It was 3 days away. Cremation. I was stunned. Father had always been most afraid of cremation. As a child at the cemetery he would take me to look at those 2 empty plots and say with a smile, remember to put me next to them. My hands shook around the phone. The next day I called his attending physician, identifying myself as a nurse. The doctor hesitated and said, Lucy. I thought you knew. Knew what? 6 weeks ago they insisted on stopping his meds to care for him naturally. We strongly opposed it, but they signed a do not resuscitate/withdrawal consent. He died of cardiac arrest, right? Yes. But that wasn't the main issue. The doctor's voice lowered. His liver function markers deteriorated sharply in the last week. That level is usually caused by drug interactions. I was silent for a long time, listening to my own breath. That night I checked public records. Father's death certificate did list sudden cardiac death. But I found a probate registration dated 4 months earlier altering the will to split the estate equally among the 3 children. The previous version had left everything to Mother and my brother and sister. Suspicion crept in like a thin needle slowly working toward the heart. I also found a neighbor of Father's, a 70-year-old woman, who said in a video, he kept asking why you didn't come. He sat on the porch and cried, asking if you hated him. I was speechless. That night I sat at the computer looking at those documents. Father's signature trembled a little but it was genuine. He had probably still believed a daughter would come back to see him. I printed out the blood test report, liver enzyme values, drug residues, a timeline, everything didn't line up. I knew what I had to do. That morning, before the church bell had struck twice, I was already sitting in the parking lot. I folded the printed blood test report into thirds and slipped it into my coat pocket. The air in the church was heavy. Mother was on the pulpit reading the eulogy in a gentle, controlled voice. The night he left, I held his hand. We prayed together. I stood up. The sound of chairs scraping the floor cut through the hush. Dozens of eyes turned to me. Mother's tone faltered. Sit down, she hissed into the microphone. I walked down the aisle step by step, my footsteps on the wooden floor were clear. You have no right to deliver the eulogy. I said. My voice was not loud, but it made her face stiffen. Lucy, this is not the time for. Jason's voice was cut off by me. He did not die of heart disease. A gasp rippled through the room. Anna looked up, her face white. I pulled the report from my pocket and held it up. My hand shook slightly, but my voice was steady. 6 weeks ago you stopped his medications and mixed sedatives into his smoothies as a comfort. The doctor has records, dates, dosages, all of it is here. Mother's lips moved as if searching for words. You're lying. She forced a smile. You weren't here, where's your evidence? You forgot I am a nurse. I climbed the pulpit and put the paper on the table. These values mean his benzodiazepine levels were 3 times the normal therapeutic amount. That can cause respiratory suppression and liver failure. The murmurs in the pews rose like waves. Mother reached to grab the paper. I caught her wrist first. Her skin was ice cold. He was afraid of cremation. I stared at her. Do you remember? He chose that plot himself. And yet you planned to turn him into ashes in 3 days. Her breathing quickened. The pastor instinctively stepped back. We only wanted to spare him suffering. Anna's voice rose, breaking. He woke up in pain every day. Do you know what that feels like? I looked at her. Her eyes were red, searching for excuses. Stopping medication for 6 weeks isn't sparing him from pain. I said softly. That's letting him die slowly. Jason jumped to his feet, pointing at me. What do you want? Money? The inheritance? You came back to tear this family apart? He tore us apart, not me. I produced another document, a copy of the will. He changed the distribution 4 months ago. Equal shares for the 3 of you. That's what you were really afraid of, right? Jason's face flushed, his lips trembled. He tried to speak but Mother cut him off. Don't listen to her. Mother raised her voice, almost a shout. She's crazy. She's hated us all these years. Do I hate you? I sneered. I hate that you trapped him in that house, leaving him hungry, drowsy, and thinking I had abandoned him. Lucy, you don't know the whole story. Her voice sank to a plea. He didn't know me then. His words were all confused. But he remembered me. I interrupted. He told the neighbor he was waiting for me. You told him I wouldn't see him, for what? So that when he died he would also think his daughter had abandoned him? At that, she utterly collapsed. Her lips trembled, her shoulders shook, and tears finally fell. The whole church was so quiet you could hear the wind move the glass panes. I stepped back slowly and left the pulpit, handing the report to the pastor. I have submitted this to the police. There will be a new autopsy. No one stopped me. As I reached the door I heard a muffled sob behind me. Mother sat on the pew, hands over her face. Jason leaned against the wall, looking drained. Anna lay on the floor repeating, we only wanted to help him. I did not look back. 3 days later the police contacted me. The autopsy confirmed what I had said, drug overdose, liver failure, long-term withdrawal damage. The case was reopened. When Mother was taken away, the neighbors stood at their doors. She wore that gray coat, her hair perfectly in place, a smile still at the corner of her mouth. As the officers pushed her into the car she suddenly turned and saw me. In that glance there was no anger, only a kind of blankness. She whispered, you'll regret this. I didn't answer. Weeks later I went to the cemetery by myself. The wind was cold. The empty grave had finally been dug, next to our grandparents' stones. The staff placed the urn into the grave. Father, you can rest now. I said softly. The wind lifted the hem of my coat. The chill cleared my head. I felt neither joy nor triumphant vengeance. I could finally breathe.